Hello and welcome to Not One Right Way, the podcast. It's me, your co-host, Melissa Manuel, she, her, and
It's me, your other co-host, Marvin Metawagi Yaga, they, them, theirs.
how you doing, Marv?
Doing super swell. I'm in the mindset right now of getting back into some healthy habits after not doing that
Yeah.
for the past couple of weeks, waking up at the same time every day. Ooh, it's rough, but
I love
otherwise good.
your new rule of TV off by 8. It's very brave.
Yeah. And I do it. I've been doing it for the past 2 weeks.
Wow, that's
It's
Yeah.
really inspirational for me. I don't think, in my mind, I'm like, maybe I could do TV off by 9,
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I think the important thing is, and this is something Harrison pointed out, is are the little screens off? No. No, they're not. And you know what? That's step number 2.
Baby steps. Big screen off first, and
Yep.
then the baby screens to follow,
Yeah.
You
I feel
can't do it all at once.
I feel like baby screen off is harder than big screen off.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because the baby screen is so much more addicting, because I'm on the baby screen when I'm looking at the big screen.
Did you
Truly.
guys ever fall asleep to TV growing up?
Did I ever what?
Fall asleep to TV growing up?
Not
Some
I do
people
that.
do that.
I do that
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, but I do fall asleep watching TV. It's a problem. It's so soothing.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of TV, what are you watching, Marv?
I'm watching Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, and
Yeah.
Culinary Class Wars. Finale's out tomorrow.
Oh my god. I'm stressed. It's just stressing me out.
Stressed.
They draw it out so bad.
They do.
Yeah.
Every cliffhanger. I know it's gonna come, but I'm still shocked.
I know. I'm
time they'll-
affected every time.
This time they'll give me the results right at the end.
This time they won't do it, and then
And then they do.
disappointed. Yeah. By the time this episode airs of our podcast, it'll be over. It would have been out for a few months. We can talk about it. I'm upset with the shakeup of season 2. Removing a whole class, eliminating all the black spoons, messed up, fucked up shit. Why'd they do that?
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know.
That is
And then
really
only
weird.
keeping 2, not even 4 or 5. Just the balance here is
Agreed.
It eliminates the purpose of the whole show. It's like the black spoons versus
there's-
white spoon.
There's a possibility of them surprise, there was the secondary eliminate. I don't know.
Yeah. I just want the drama back. Now it's well, I guess the odds of a white spoon winning are so high.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like the white spoons were stronger this year than last year.
Yeah.
maybe
The
a
white
little,
spoons
yeah.
came in a lot tougher, but I think it's because season 1, everyone was like, this is just a silly
Right, yeah, nobody
competition show.
it didn't have street cred.
Yeah.
But this year, people were like, this is serious. I'm here to win.
Yeah. Gotta represent.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. I'm fine. I'm normal about it.
Yeah. We're normal in the group chat about Culinary Class Wars.
I looked at the amount of messages that we have. It's over 1,000. There's over 1,000 messages in the thread in the Discord for Culinary Class Wars. So
Wait, there's a Culinary Class Wars Discord?
no,
What?
just our friends.
Oh, okay.
We usually chat about every show we watch together. We start a thread and we have a TV channel and then a thread for each show. Over 1,000 for Culinary Class Wars.
Wow.
Yeah.
All-time high.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to shout out really quickly that I have watched The Amazing Digital Circus 3 times now. All except an episode.
Amazing.
The last time we recorded, Melissa had just finished the first time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Melissa's announcing it again. That's interesting. 3 times? Girl!
Yeah. I just have so many feelings.
Yeah.
I need to catch up. I started it and was like, oh, this is good. And then I never kept going. So
And then you get to episode 7, which is the most recent one as of this recording, and I'm so upset. I made my husband watch it, and I was like, "Do you wanna talk about it? This is why I watched it the 3rd time." And he was just like, "There's nothing to talk about." And I was like, "What a waste of time." You don't you don't wanna discuss the theories? This is what I'm here
oh,
for. I was really disappointed.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Flame him.
Yeah, this is a public shaming on the Discord. I was really upset. Comment your theories in the comments, please. I wanna discuss.
Yeah.
But I would love to introduce our guest, who has been lovely enough to chat with us already. They are animation director. Welcome, Ellen Sue.
Hi, thank you for
Hello.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. What are you watching?
Oof. Right now I'm watching Pro Bono, a K-drama, Culinary Class Wars. Very
Nice.
excited for the next episodes. And Pluribus.
Mhm.
Oh, I've heard good things.
It's really good. Really wild. It's like, who the fuck came up with this? How did you come up with this? Very unique TV show premise.
Okay. That one's on Apple TV?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to get a sign in again, because it's been on my list of, like, everyone's been saying it's weird, so I'm in.
Yep. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like if you haven't tried it, like multiple streaming platforms give you trials, free trials.
Mhm.
So we had like the Apple free trial, and then we got the Apple trial on Amazon. You just like you just
That's
watch
cute.
everything in a trial.
Perfect.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
Mara, would you like to start us off?
Yes. So, Ellen, I gave you a little bit of my background as a
Mhm.
social worker. Something that I sort of take from my work and sort of apply here in this podcast is asking some pretty deep questions,
Mm.
right off the bat. Usually, what I'm doing at work is tell you about the worst days of your life, and
Yeah.
then, let's go from there. So, I'm asking some pretty hard hitting questions. My question for you today is hottest anime guy.
Oh gosh. Hottest anime guy. I mean, if
Wow.
we're going from childhood, like Spike from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
Mm.
What is it for you? The legs or the hair?
Mm. Is that like 90s, like broad ass shoulders
Yeah.
and super long legs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
classic. And, like, if it was, like, the first guy crush, it'd be Darien from Sailor Moon, but he's kind of base. I mean, he's, like, mid and just, like, he does nothing. He does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Kinda like, let's just brings the rose and is like,
Yeah.
"You're welcome," and then he
Yeah.
leaves.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tuxedo
Those are good
Mask.
answers.
One single very spiky rose, and then you disappear.
Yeah. It was like, you could have helped sooner or in some other way,
Could
Yeah.
do
but
much more.
maybe he's more of a, like, you know, watch on the sidelines so that you can grow stronger as your own person.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or he's like, just trying to prove that men are useless, like, they're just a pretty face.
Oh, alright, there we go.
Melissa, you said the quiet part out loud.
Just reading the subtext.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
no.
god,
Okay.
hilarious.
Who's your
What are some of
sexiest?
your, yeah, answers?
Marv, you go. You watch more anime.
I know, I'm trying to think.
I can't think of a single sexy man, but I'm thinking of so many sexy women.
I mean, I'll
Right?
take the sexy women too.
It's just like sexy men in anime, but there's all these women. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, sexy man or woman, go crazy. Oh wait, Lloyd from Spy Family. Who am I kidding? He's so beautiful.
Yes,
He's a
he's very
dad. Great job.
mhm, mhm.
I have
I'm
a
trying to
figurine of
think
him
of
on my desk.
something, but I have this Fruits Basket poster just, like, right here in my desk area, and all I can think of is Kyo, and, like, he's also he's I'm not attracted to men, so it's, like, kind of he's aight. I love the tortured man aspect, though. Like a
Mhm.
crying, sobbing little meow meow. Ideal type of man.
Yeah.
So, like, did you guys play BG3 Baldur's Gate?
Mhm. I did. Marv does not play the
Oh,
game.
Marv. Oh, Marv.
They're
You
crying, sobbing little
should.
meow meow.
I mean, yeah. There
Kinda.
are many of them, I feel like.
You should watch a playthrough on YouTube.
Yeah,
Just
that's true. You
watch the
could just watch
story.
a playthrough. You just watch a playthrough.
Great point.
Who was
Why would I do the
your
work myself?
romance partner, Melissa?
I really liked I'm always gonna fall for the dark mysterious woman. What's her name?
Shadowheart?
Shadowheart, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
immediate, like, "I'm so interested in everything you have to say." "What do you mean you can't tell me all your secrets? Open up."
Yes. Yep.
Obsessed.
Very good.
Obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Great game. It's a great game that I cannot play because I get lost every 5 seconds. I'm like, "Where am
Oh,
I?"
yeah.
Close the
I get
worlds
that.
is what I'm saying. These worlds are too open. I'm getting lost, and they don't tell me where to go. So,
Yeah.
I need a guide.
Nice.
Bring Google Maps to gaming.
That's what I'm saying. Just want, like, a little orb of light, like in Hello Kitty Island Adventure, to just tell me where to go. Can't do this. Oh, man. Anyway, thank you for sharing your favorite sexy people.
You're welcome.
So now we're gonna dive into the next section of the podcast, which is all about you. Now that you've opened up a little, why don't you share a little bit about your origin story? Did you know you always wanted to work in animation, or what was your initial childhood career
Yeah.
goals?
Yeah, I think I knew I wanted to be in art from an early age. Just I'd come home in elementary school and put on the TV, watch cartoons, Toonami, and just draw every single day. Wasn't really an outdoors kid. I'm like pretty much a sedentary potato um, ever since I was young. So that was how it started. But I originally thought I wanted to be a graphic designer. Did you guys ever do like Neopets or Gaia Online?
Yeah.
I would like, like sell commissions for online money, for like banners for guilds and about me pages.
That's so smart. You were like one of the first.
I was filthy rich on Neopets.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
yeah, and then I lost my account and I was very sad. And I had so
Yeah.
many fairy paintbrushes.
I always was making new Neopets accounts because I kept forgetting my password. And then my parents would
Oh,
get mad at me because I'd be like, "Give me a new can I get your email again?" And they'd be like, "What are you doing on there? Why do you need my email?" I'd be like, "I need to get a new Neopets
oh my
account."
god. Okay, here I'm asking you the hard-hitting questions. Did you guys ever scam people on Neopets or Gaia?
No.
Yes, that's the appropriate reaction. I learned some of my close friends who I thought were the nicest people on earth ran scams on
Interesting.
their
What scams
site.
can you run on Neopets other than the current NFT situation?
They would, like, host contests in their guilds, and they're like, "Buy this junk and you get, like, a ticket."
Mhm.
And you could potentially win this fairy paintbrush or a high value item. And they would just
Aw,
take it and run and not give anybody anything.
that's
And I'm
Oh,
just like, and they're
crazy.
a teenager, like a young tween, and I'm just like, what?
I'm too dumb. I was just out there trying to play the mini
Yeah.
games.
I
Right.
know. Just make games. Play games. Anyway, I'm
That's
glad
awesome.
you're upstanding citizens.
Thanks. The worst I would do is don't tell Big Barnes& and Noble is I'm a big Percy Jackson fan. I would go to Barnes& Noble because I would buy my copy of the new book, but there'd be, like, exclusive stuff in the back of like, a sticker or a little printout
Mm.
poster, but those would be exclusive at Target or Barnes& and Noble, and I'd have bought whatever version. So I'm like, "But I gotta get all the exclusive merch." So I would just steal them from the back of other copies. That's, like, the
wow.
most nefarious thing I did as a child.
Marv's like shocked expressions, like, I
I'm
thought I knew you.
so shocked. I'm actually not going to speak my crimes out loud. Know that they're numerous. Um,
If anyone's like listening that's a cop, you legally have to tell us. So
legally have to tell
The
them.
statute of limitations, statute of limitations. Only confess if those
Yeah.
are if you're in the clear.
I've downloaded so much music from Tumblr.
Yeah, I mean, everyone had a Napster phase, right?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. Anyway, so you started on Neopets. How did this
Oh,
journey
yeah.
continue?
Oh my god, we got so sidetracked. Okay, so then my dad saw that I had an interest in art. He used to be a fine artist. And of course, he had to make a living and provide for his family. So he switched into sort of graphic design. He was like working in printing. They would do like books and posters. Like whenever you need
Mhm.
business cards, you go to a printing shop, right? So
Yeah.
they do that kind of stuff. So graphic design adjacent. And he lucked out because at the time there was like Photoshop and one other digital software competitor, like the first ever. And he picked Photoshop to learn. And the other shop closed down, shuttered, bankrupt. I don't know what happened, but Photoshop then became the standard, and he was ahead of the times in learning this groundbreaking software. And so he was like, the future, if you want to do art, you got to do it in computers, you got to do it digitally. And that kind of pushed me into 3D animation. I
Mhm.
went to SVA studying 3D animation. And I don't regret the choice, but, as you might know, my love and passion is 2D animation, anime type stuff. And, back then people were just like, "Oh, no, you can't do anime. You're not gonna get work." And Pixar was all the rage. So I ended up graduating from the program, and I did have an internship at Pixar. On paper, I was successful, but it just like, as a 3D artist, I didn't love it the way I love drawing in Photoshop. I wasn't passionate about it, like, the people that were around me, top of the class, they loved learning new like, weekends, they'd learn the new 3D software
Mm.
and just, like, do some kind of personal 3D project, and for me, I would be drawing in Photoshop or on paper. So I think at that point I was like, okay, I might have wasted some time, but I'm just gonna like revamp, do some jobs for little to no pay, reorder that portfolio and website, and try to put myself out there again as a 2D artist. And I succeeded after a little bit. I think it was like a half year to 1 year journey to start then getting more work. But it was useful because I came out of school with 3D connections, and all the people in those 30 places didn't really have 2D connections. So then I kind of became the 2D person in those circles.
Okay.
Yeah. And your internship at Pixar was for technical direction, right?
Correct. Pixar undergraduate program, the PUP program. And so for that internship, they teach you kind of like from modeling to texturing, rigging, and all of those things that are in the 3D pipeline. Not any of like the design or the animation, essentially. So yeah, it was a really cool academic internship.
Yeah. So you wanted to be more in the design department, like doing concepts and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So would you say learning the whole pipeline, because I know so much of the industry right now is 3D, and a lot of design people aren't interested in that. But knowing that pipeline, does it make you a stronger 2D artist?
For sure, I think understanding what the 3D team needs in order to model a character in 3D is helpful for me on my project right now, like being able to model in 3D sets and environments and know how to like set up do layout, which is essentially set dressing. So like you have a bunch of props and you just put them in places to make a room, right? Like you don't necessarily have to model all the things, you can, but it's like set dressing and designing a space. So those skills come really useful for whether I'm doing background design or storyboarding. and all that. Yeah.
It's nice. So where did you get your start, essentially? You said you had 3D connections to help, and they wanted your 2D knowledge. What was your first, like, big, I guess, career job?
Yeah. After graduating, I had started working at a ad agency called RGA, and I kind of was a generalist for them. I did some 3D, but they knew that I wanted to do more 2D, so they gave me some opportunities to kind of like do storyboards and do style frame designs and things like that, and character designs. And then I got another, like in the New York world, it's really freelance
Mhm.
and it's advertising. Not that many people have like a full-time gig, but freelance charges a lot more than what you might make in TV on like a daily basis, a weekly basis potentially. And I jumped around a little bit. So it was like at RGA, at the mill, did the 3D jobs, did like when you start out, you kind of do the boring stuff, the thing that nobody else wants to do,
Right.
essentially. And, at the lunch table, I was kind of drawing in a sketchbook or just, I might have showed somebody something because I was like, oh, I'd love to meet the people in the 2D department and show them my stuff and see if they have any opportunities for me while I'm here. And I actually connected with a director who, after he finished his gig at the mill, he got some 2D project going on. And so he reached out to me to help out on that. I finished that project. It went to Annecy. It looks really cool for the portfolio. I think I got paid $600 for it. And then I showed the people that I was working at RGA next time I was hired for freelance. And they're like, oh, let's give you more 2D stuff. And it kind of like became that ball rolling. The creative director at RGA then really liked me, and he had some like side project outside of work that wanted more cool 2D stuff, and he hired me on that. And it's just one thing after another. It's like this small little snowball rolling, getting bigger and bigger. And just got a 3D art director credit from him. I got a recommendation for a directing project from the first guy I worked for. And my teacher from SVA heard that I had directed something on my own and produced it by myself. And he just happened to have a position opening at his studio for director. So he reached out to me. And then I was there for like 5 years, directed animated commercials.
Nice. That's a really cool story because it sounds like I know a lot of people, a lot of my old coworkers who are artists because I managed a lot of 3D artists work in freelance as well. And
Mhm.
it's a lot of like keeping your head down again, like you said, taking the jobs that no one really wants. So it's nice to hear how it led to bigger things, like all those
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
odd jobs. Just build your portfolio.
Yeah. And then it's also like you gotta do the like boring, shitty jobs well and be pleasant to be around so that people want to work with you again and want to reach out. And yeah, that was where I got the really cool opportunities. And
Mhm.
it's like make this cell phone turn around in a white background, like
Yeah.
it's the same pretty much in every cell phone commercial, I feel like. Um
Right. Just like sort of spinning on an axis.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think I was on a job where they're like, yes, this big cell phone client, they want to do something completely different and out of the box for this year's campaign. And it turned out they wanted the background white instead of black. That was their big change.
Wow. Groundbreaking stuff. I thought you were
Groundbreaking.
gonna
They
be
also
the phone turns the other way now.
yeah, I mean, possibly, that might be too much change.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah.
so funny.
What is it like working with all these like different clients in ads? Like,
Yes.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it like working with people on their worst day as a social worker?
For the listeners at home, Marv just sighed and went peace, double peace sign, you know?
Yeah.
No,
Um,
I'm curious actually. Yeah.
yeah. Um, it can be stressful and hard, and a lot of it is kind of being able to regulate yourself so that you can help somebody else regulate.
Yeah.
So that's an important part of it. Like, whoa, not a super big fan of you screaming at me, not a super big fan of like the things you're saying to me. And also just like it is okay if you want to cry. Like this is the kind of place where you can do that.
Yeah.
And also, do you want some water, a snack, tissues?
I wish I could have said that to some of the clients I've worked with. Be like, maybe you just need a snack because you're being a lot right now.
I
Yeah,
mean, snacks, hangry is a real thing. Hangry is a real
truthfully.
thing. Hangry. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's working with different clients. When I was at Nathan Love, my boss taught me some important lessons about working together. I think graduating, I come out thinking like us versus them,
Mm,
like my job is hard and they're making it harder for me. And why the fuck would they ask that? And, like some of those kinds of thoughts. And he was the one who was like, we're all on the same team. We're all trying to like make something good. And I've heard people complain about like, oh my God, that CEO is giving us this note at the nth hour because their daughter said they didn't like blue, you know? And I don't know, like, yeah, it's frustrating to have to make that change at the nth hour, but sometimes it's a valid point. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard. You kind of juggle a lot of things, and the biggest thing is figuring out what people are saying, asking the right
mm,
questions. Why do you feel okay, you don't like it, but why do you actually don't like it? Is it what you said you don't like, or is it something else? Reading between the lines and being a detective and figuring that out. And figuring out how to ingratiate yourself to all the clients. I feel like people, everybody works differently and they're
yeah,
gonna listen to you in different ways or, like, yeah. But I think working in a good environment where you have people that kind of act as a shield or barrier or a buffer or can just be like that calm voice in the room to be like, okay, yes, you can have your frustrating moment and back we go. How do we say this nicely,
yeah,
But learned a lot for sure. Every day, gotta learn more in how to talk to people.
It's the talking to people that I'm curious. Did you ever have to talk to the clients directly, like with emails or Zoom calls? Is that something you did, or do you have a producer who managed that?
Yeah, when I was in a directing position, I definitely we would pitch. So we would like get a job and it'd be like, okay, we want to sell XYZ. We have this idea, and how would you guys take this seed and run with it? And what would the final product look like if we worked with you guys? So then I'd have to put together a deck and kind of like go through what our vision are, what our references are, the inspiration, and kind of pitch that to the clients. Likewise, like when we had major edits and updates, we would present that to the client. There's a lot of emails of like what we did, what we updated, and stuff like that. And it wasn't I think it's just like any job you do the first time, any managerial role you do the first time, it's just messy. You're just gonna make mistakes.
yeah.
And that is okay. That is okay. Yeah. I don't do you have a specific question to that?
Yeah, because at my last job, I was working in animation specifically with clients and learning how to code switch almost with them. Like
Mhm.
they're they preferred their emails written a specific way. They wanted their feedback written a specific way. And that's not something you're like taught in advance.
Yeah.
You have to learn it and it's a skill and you have to practice it. Client communications is big a deal. And I think it's not something every artist is ready to do. And that's why usually you have a producer to do it.
Yeah.
But as a freelancer, sometimes you have to do it directly. And I think people will want to hire you more if you're better at, writing a good email and providing your feedback.
Yeah, for sure. I think the feedback part is really important, especially as a director. Thankfully, I think I was able to get into a director position early because I've always kind of had that like willingness to reach out and, produce group trips or school events or whatever that kind of worked well in a director situation. But it's like when you have a new client, a new relationship, new friend, anybody that's new in your life, right? You kind of have to figure out those things. How you could say the same thing to two different people and they take it differently.
Yeah.
And so it's you didn't do anything bad. It just takes a minute to adjust. You just always have to adjust and pivot.
So true. So true.
I'm so sorry. My cat is doing so much right now.
Oh my god, he's loving you real hard.
He
Really
really
hard. I was unsure if we should comment on it or not because his butt's in the
unbothered.
view, like
Yeah,
he's
it's like
knocking
blink
on the
if you
mic.
can't breathe.
I'm okay.
Oh
He's
my
just a big
gosh.
boy. It's a lot of love.
No, he's huge.
Yeah, he's massive. You mentioned you've done prior leadership roles that helped with, managing that kind of feedback and conversations. You were a leader of the Women in Animation New York City chapter. How did that happen?
Oh, I should I wasn't I volunteered a lot, but I wouldn't say that I was like that active or successful as like a leader of the chapter.
Mm.
I at the time when I was directing, I was really excited to kind of just share. I've always been excited about sharing information about like how to do things, doing tutorials and things like that. So I kind of did a lot of workshops that was, you know, the 101s, the stuff that I saw my colleagues that went to different schools weren't taught. So things like day rates and hold system in the advertising world, what email contracts are like, like I've heard of people that lost job opportunities because they were too hung up on getting that contract before they started.
Mm.
And it's definitely smart to get a contract, but in the state of New York, I believe it's true that if you have an email contract that kind of states like we want to book you from this date at this rate, like that is already a legally binding thing.
Mm.
Obviously you can like work out further details, but just some of those like one-on-ones are like what to expect, what's normal, what's not. I was doing a lot of those kind of talks, which kind of raised me up in the community a lot. And I was able to help them get a lot of membership and drive activity in the community. So that was very exciting. I think the stuff I did with WIA was kind of what led me to eventually feel like, oh, I could be a recruiter. And that was eventually I think that everything I did for WIA was a big part of how I got my recruiting gig after directing.
What a beautiful pivot.
Yeah, I know.
I
I was
was
like,
just
ooh, that was weaved in so well.
Because I've never had a chance to talk to someone who's done recruiting before. I don't think we've interviewed anyone like that. So,
Mm.
and that's, I feel like the question most people want to talk to a recruiter. How do I
Yeah.
yap with a
Look,
recruiter? How do I get that job? So what was it
Mhm.
like, being a recruiter at a studio that's pretty well known, Titmouse, and
yeah. Okay, so I was a recruiter for 3 years, and I've been a director for 5, and now that I'm back on the other side, it's fucking hard.
yeah.
You would think that I would have an upper hand, but I am still like an awkward turtle going into meetings and interviews. But I did learn a lot there.
How did you get the recruiter role? You mentioned a little bit about your experience with women in animation, helping with that. But how did you get that job? And what were your favorite experiences being a recruiter? I know you have the short life of a recruiter, which is pretty fun, like glance at it. But what was your favorite takeaways of doing that kind of job?
Yeah, I think it was like the end of the first year of the pandemic, and I kind of was really tired of advertising and commercial work and burnt out because as a director, You kind of work late nights. You might pitch for a job. You submit it on Friday. You learn Saturday. You got the job, and you have until Monday to find the people to start the job. So it's kind of crazy, and I was burnt out, and I wanted to learn about TV animation, episodic animation. So luckily, on LinkedIn, I saw that Titmouse was hiring a recruiter. And when I looked at the job description, I realized a lot of the things that I was doing for WIA and as a director just correlated with that. So as a director in a small studio, we don't have a recruiter. Like, our directors and producers are the recruiters. So I had experience hiring artists, reviewing portfolios for like pretty much every part of the animation pipeline. And things like public speaking, giving workshops, lecturing at colleges, managing databases and all that stuff, like, that was just stuff I've done already. I helped WIA do, like, a career fair, both online, and helped organize, like, portfolio reviews and stuff, reaching out to studios and connecting them with students. So it kind of was perfect for them, and they were looking for something different, like, I think for them, they tried a traditional recruiting approach and it wasn't working for them, and they're like, well, let's take this shot at some random artist person who's never had recruiting, like official recruiting experience. And it was great. I learned a lot on that job. I learned a lot about the industry and what they were looking for. And let's see, the question of, like, what am I proud of? I think it's always really, really satisfying. When I was there, they didn't have an internship program that the executives were happy with. And there were some limitations, like, there was no room in the budget. Like, I saw budgets in the time they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And that isn't their fault. They're not the network, they're bidding for jobs like every other animation production house out there. And we didn't have the money for paid internships. And legally, so then I'm trying to find a loophole on how to get an academic internship that would both be beneficial for the studio and for the intern. And I kind of used what was existing, kind of built a new system. And one of the hardest things is when you have a limited budget and limited time, and your art directors or your supervisors are already stretched so thin, telling them they have additional, work on their docket in training an intern, sometimes they don't react well to that. Not everybody, obviously. Some people are really excited. But it really depends on that, like, production and how underwater it is. So the other thing is, it's scary to take a risk on an artist when you haven't worked with them before, when you don't know how they take feedback and how quickly they do a turnaround or whatever the assignment is, like what their speed is. You could have a great portfolio and it takes you forever, or it's only great because one person coached you through that image for a long time, right? So you never really know. And that's what I was using the internship program for. It was, here are the assignments from past shows that's already aired, it's out there, and we're going to give these assignments in a range of styles to the interns for them to do. And we would have a supervisor that may have worked on the project or just have a more senior eye to review and give notes. And that would give every production an opportunity to actually work with somebody without it costing them a lot. And it's always really satisfying when, like, I find somebody for that internship that worked out great, worked out perfectly, and then they end up hiring that person after the internship or after they graduate. Yeah, that's just awesome.
This is a really amazing thing you did. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And Rachel Ashley, my successor, she took it further and made it even better. And it's super, super great to see what she's done with it now. But yeah, it's a good internship program. So apply.
Yeah, that's really rewarding. Yeah, for both you and everything that's come after it. That's amazing. That's beautiful. Like, that's all I've wanted to do since I've started working. It's just like opening doors for people and creating those kinds of experiences. It's just really, really nice.
Yeah. It's hard. A lot of people don't realize in the recruiting process, it's like it depends on the studio. But at Titmouse, it's not like I'm the person who gets the final say. Like I think a lot of people think that, and I, in reality, probably have the least amount of say in a hire out of the like potentially 5 different people that might review a candidate.
Mhm.
And so the daily struggle is always like trying to convince and pitch and present somebody in a good light. And I can only do so much. So when the artist makes it really easy for me to like, this is what you're looking for, it makes my job much easier and your chances higher.
It's awesome. And when you finished your time at Titmouse, you said you went back to design. What drove that choice?
Yeah, I think after, like, when I started recruiting, I wasn't sure if that was something I wanted to stay in. And it was definitely an interesting challenge at first. But eventually, I did feel like I wanted to do more creative stuff. And it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to do more drawing, it was just like pulling names and putting together things and pitching them that didn't feel like a creative challenge anymore. um, to me. And so I wanted to do more. And I think at the time, like it's just one of those things where the timing didn't work out, and they didn't have any additional creative need at like the director level. And so, and I also don't think that I would qualify like in terms of like the experience that you would need for them and for the project. So in that sense, it just wasn't possible at Titmouse. It was a scary and risky move to, like, leave that place, but I also didn't wanna get too angry and jaded from not being creatively fulfilled. So, I made the choice to leave and kind of like okay, I was looking at my timelines, like, I do wanna have kids. I'm kind of in my early 30s. The time to do risky things was running out. So I kinda gave myself I looked at, like, my finances, my savings, kinda budgeted what 2 years of unemployment would look like, and took the risk of quitting and just working on a project that is very important to me. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I literally have the last, like, 10 shots of this trailer to go, but I'm hoping to finish within the month and, yeah, get
Congrats.
get a proof of concept trailer out there.
Yay! We love to
Yeah.
see that. You know me, I love an indie project. I mean, you probably don't, but Marv does.
Yeah.
I wanna know more about this, but is this quitting involved with your recent travels to China, Taiwan, Japan?
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to take a big ass vacation, but also, like, a research trip, and it just didn't seem it's like you get a week or 2 weeks of vacation a year,
Mhm,
and it just yeah, I it was the other thing was, like, when I quit directing, I needed more creative energy to put into personal artistic pursuits, and that was great to balance with, like, an administrative job like recruiting.
mhm,
And at the end of my time at Titmouse, I needed administrative energy and producing energy to move the project to the next stage. So that was another factor. And right after I left, I went to Asia for like 6 weeks. 6 weeks. The big question I had at that time was the struggles. Okay, so let me back it up. The project is like unpacking wrapped in cute dog and supernatural, magic, fantasy
mhm.
type stuff. But we're just digging into like parental damage. like,
Intergenerational
intergenerational
trauma. Yeah,
trauma
yeah.
and difficult family relationships, and it's universal at this point, but I did at the time have the question of, like, were there issues that I had with my parents because of the immigration, like, situation of, like, first gen American and the culture clash between, my mom and myself? And I think some of that is true, but after interviewing and talking to so many people, you know, well, not just like Asian communities, it's just a universal problem with communication, of
Mm.
not being heard or not knowing how to listen. And I don't know if you guys watch Love is Blind.
Yes,
Yeah, Rob does.
I do.
Yes. Yeah. Did you watch the Italy thing?
I have not.
Okay. Italy came out with a Love is Blind. It's freaking wild. But, like, I feel like so many of those conflicts or arguments are of people saying something and it getting, like, heard completely differently. And
Yes.
it's rare to have, like, a live camera watch that in real time, and be like, "Oh, because I'm a third party, I can see this and I can see where the miscommunication or misunderstanding happened." And those things, like, just fascinate me. So, yeah, I wanted to kind of compile a bunch of these kinds of stories and, like, pinpoint, "Oh, that's the moment that it was misunderstood." And then, like, how do we say the thing that can get them to understand each other and communicate? I think a lot of people in the Asian community, in Chinese families, they don't know what the words are, how to even phrase that sentence because they were never, said it. Nobody ever said it to them. Nobody used, you know, non like asking open-ended questions instead of closed-ended questions. Y Did you do your homework? That's a yes, no answer. Did you eat? Yes, no answer. Versus, like, how was your day? Why did you say that to me? What are you thinking when you're doing this? Like,
Mm.
those things that create two-way conversation versus a defensive reaction.
Mm.
It's like parents would be like, "I'm so worried about my child and their well-being," but what comes out of their mouth is, "Why are you so lazy? Why are you playing video games all day?" You know?
Mhm.
Like, that's
Yeah.
not that's not showing your love in a healthy way, but those are the words that you've been said, like you've been taught by
Yeah.
your parents, and that's the model, and yeah. So, if I could make a show that would give those words alternative ways of speaking or asking questions, then it'd be great. 'Cause it's worked for my mom. My mom is my long-term project. It's
For
been
real?
10 years,
Yeah.
but
Incredible.
she's finally there. She's getting there, girls. It's really great to see. The example I like to give is, like, where my parents are divorced. I love both of my parents. I have good relationships with them right now. But I do agree that my father was not the best husband. It's kind of like that classic, like, men back then think what women should be and what women should do, which
Mhm.
is all of it. And,
Yeah.
and, like, "Why didn't you know how to raise a child?" Or, that kinda stuff,
Mhm.
which he's apologized to me. They don't talk, but he's, like, admitted his mistakes, so that's huge for him.
Yeah.
But we would have this argument, like, at some point, she would just get triggered and just go off about my dad, and I would be, like, mad. I would get mad. I would be like, "Oh, you just don't fucking wanna hear this anymore." And it would just go on for years, and we'd all just be frustrated, and the first step in fixing that was, like, a year ago, which was they after I blew up or I got angry or she felt me getting angry, she then was just like, "Okay, why? Why do you do that? Why do you feel like that? I feel like you know, would just get so angry with me, have such a short temper with me every time I bring this up." And she eventually confided in me that she said that she feels like I blame her for the divorce.
Mhm.
Um, and that wasn't true. But the fact that she was able to voice what she was feeling or how I was making her feel with my anger, that helped me figure out why I was getting angry and tell her, which wasn't like, "I don't blame you for the divorce. I agree with you. I know all of the things you've been telling me for the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. The reason I get so mad is every time you start this shit, you just eventually you end up saying like, "You don't even know I protected you from this." You know, like, "I shielded you," and it's like, you say that as you proceed to tell me everything, and in, like, 30 years' time, I've maybe learned one piece of new information. So, I'm
Mhm.
getting angry about something else, and she thinks I'm getting angry for a different reason, and so she's stuck in this loop of, like, trying to convince me that it wasn't her fault, and until somebody started that conversation and asked the why, and we stopped and thought about it, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, asking asking is so important, but I think in a lot of cultures, children-parent relationships, it's not, like, about asking. It's not. It's like, "Why are you talking back?" You know? Or we don't really dig or question. The people that I've met that had good relationships with their parents, I feel like they'll share with me about how they'd watch movies, and then they'd talk about it and kinda pick it apart and figure out how it made them feel and why this happened. They think about these things and work through it together. And then the ones that kind of don't, they don't feel comfortable sharing information with each other because the response they get back is not one that creates like a safe and supportive environment, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was really vulnerable. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will, I start my interviews with like, "All right, tell me your trauma." Tell
More
me your
updated.
trauma. So
Yeah. I resonated with all of that. I was like,
Yeah.
just like samesies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Fellow child of divorce.
Yes. I'm
It'd be like
sorry.
that. It's okay. They needed to be divorced. You
I
know?
know, exactly. Like,
Sometimes
telling
it's for the
telling
best.
me they did it for me, I don't know. They're
Do it for
you know what?
yourself, you know?
Do it for yourself, yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
and are you comfortable sharing the title? Is it public of
Oh
this
my god.
project?
Naming things is hard. For now, I'm calling it DAISING. There's no major significance, it's just the name of the city, the fictional city that it's
Mhm.
based in.
Hmm.
And it's Cantonese, so it's kind of like both Cantonese and English. I am Cantonese. Well, like, my parents are from Guangzhou, which 10 years ago was primarily Cantonese speaking, but since mainland China, implemented one language, which is smart, I think everyone should know in one country should have, like, a unifying language that everybody understands. But it's sad if Cantonese is just fully lost, because it's such
Mhm.
a beautiful cursing language. Like,
Ooh.
there's nothing quite like cursing somebody out in Cantonese.
Yeah.
Um, it's very, very colorful, so I wanted to do something that reminded me of the childhood and home that I experienced.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see your trailer. It sounds like it'll
So
make me cry. So,
well, yeah, so the trailer's more like fun, action, and puppy, you
exactly.
know?
But then you see the whole thing, and then I cry. And that's always what I'm
Yes,
looking for. I'm looking for a
yes.
good
I
cry.
hope to make people cry if this gets greenlit and funded.
And it will.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Manifest it for me.
Manifesting always.
Mhm.
It sounds like an amazing project. And Thank you for sharing the background on it. And when you're pitching it, you be like, listen to this segment on this podcast, and people will be like, absolutely, I need to see this right away. Just take all
Yeah.
my money.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I'm gonna tell my sister to listen to this one. She does not listen to this podcast, but I'm
Yeah.
like, you have to listen to this one.
Yeah.
She will resonate as well.
Thank you.
I'd probably also tell my sisters. Although I wouldn't have to tell
So
my
they can also
mom.
run.
She listens regularly.
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
love a good
Regularly.
supporter, parental support.
My mom doesn't know what a podcast is. Okay. Shout out to the moms. The moms and stuff. Well, for our final question, do you have any advice for the dreamers, the art directors, the artists who want to also make art like you, the art directors?
Yeah. I mean, I think just like the path to success is not straightforward. I think for right now, we're all anxious about what the state of the industry is, and we don't know. I think it's shifting towards a global ecosystem for sure. For the longest time, Hollywood kind of reigned supreme, and everybody from other countries were trying to come here and work. And I guess it makes sense if the pendulum swings the other way for those opportunities to be elsewhere now. But people have succeeded, like there's still going to be work. It's just what path to that is always changing. I just know that if you're really excited about something, keep applying, but also make sure you're making. Like, don't wait for somebody to give you the opportunity to make what you love. Find a way to make it yourself. Like, if you want to work on anime, then study it. You got to copy it. Like everyone gets their start by copying and tracing. And if you think about what the first job you might get in anime pipeline would be, it's cleaning up the senior animator's drawings. So you're effectively tracing their sketches. Copy, study, and then make your own thing from it. A lot of times when I was recruiting, I'd give out specific clues as to what I'm looking for. And 95% of people that applied, like, they did not have what I was saying. Like, if you were going to hire people to work on SpongeBob or Owl House, you're not looking for arts like kind of is like that or inspired. You want people that can just like fit right in, like hit that style exactly. So, yeah, just really make sure that the stuff you're creating in your portfolio is relevant to whatever it is that you're applying for.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Would you say there's not one right way?
There's definitely not one right way. That was very good. That was slick.
Put a little bow on it.
Yeah. Roll the credits.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, guys. I
Of
hope you have a
course.
great year.
Thank you. You too. 2026.
6 off to an interesting start. That was our conversation with Ellen.
I love when we have a guest who's so good at telling their story and like smooth pivots and like explaining the background. I'm like, yes.
I love when they do the segues for me.
Right?
Superstars and, just great storytellers. That's
Mhm.
good at their jobs. That's why they get paid, hopefully, the big buck.
Mhm.
Whew. Had a great time. We unpacked a lot of emotional baggage, learned a lot of great career advice. It was a
Mhm.
good time.
Yeah.
I hope everybody learned a lot, cried a little.
Yeah.
Gonna go home and reflect on your relationship with your parents? Question mark.
Yeah. Yeah. I might do that. Who knows?
Yeah. Journal. Big screen
Yes.
off at 8.
Yes.
Not me, but maybe someone else.
Maybe someone out there will Follow my lead. Oh my gosh. We'll just edit out the sounds.
There were a lot of sounds this episode.
Yeah.
There was the crickets, the clickety clack of someone's keyboard, Mimikyu's purring, and in my face.
Uh-huh.
A lot of Foley work, you know?
Yeah.
People pay to get these kind of sounds, you know? Big money.
People pay.
Well, thank you again to Ellen for spending some time with us. I hope people enjoyed. I had a great time. So I
Had a
always do with
great
the new
time.
guests. Think about your favorite hottest anime guy. Put it in the comments, or tell me if you've seen Amazing Digital Circus. I want to know what you think.
Yeah.
Engage with me. Just some discourse. Some tasty discourse. Thanks so much for podcasting with me, Marv.
Thanks for podcasting with me, Melissa.
And remember that our cover is done by Les, the wonderful Les. They sent me a Christmas card this year. It's really cute. Great stuff. 10 out of 10. Beautiful art, of course. Follow them on Instagram for more. Hire them if you want art. They do commissions. It's great. And Marv does the editing. And remember,
There's
not
one
right
way
to start your career in animation by taking little odd jobs.
there's just not one right way to get that Pixar internship and realize, I don't think it's for me.
There's not one right way to move to New York City, do some freelance work, and most importantly, there's not one right way to make a series about your intergenerational trauma with your parent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Maybe can you get another meow? He doesn't. He's done.